is one attribute, one key to what makes the most successful mindset. I used to work in corporate America for 6 years or more, actually. And while I was there, I had the privilege of working with the top people. What that looked like every month on a sheet was this person had met more goals. This person had made more money for the company. This person was the top, the best. I did all the paperwork. I did all of the analytics. Then, as time progressed and I was there for a little longer, other people were on his heels of success. How did they get to the top? You know, some of them it took years, but some of them are born naturally at it. And I went to college to become a life coach during the time I was working there. And, you know, we learn all about psychology and the iceberg in our heads and where our thought processes come from, where our mindsets come from, how we got here today from where we were as a child. And this is what I discovered. While looking at their success and how they grew, and while looking at the people that stayed below them, stayed below average, I realized there's one difference that made everybody stand out. First, I'm going to tell you about it, and then I'm going to explain it. But please watch until the end of the video so you get the whole idea. Because if you just listen to what I'm about to tell you and you take that and try to go be successful, it may not work for you. You have to hear the whole entire story. The most successful people that I've ever worked with or for focus on their results, their future thinking. Okay, now let me explain this to you. When we work for companies, and you're not your own business owner, you're under the direction and leadership of managers. And I've talked about this before in previous videos. The managers I worked with were horrendous as people and as managers. They had no people skills at all. They should have never been in charge of people. They were terrible at what they did. In fact, they had no experience in what they did. So how do you direct other people when you yourself don't have experience or knowledge about what you're directing other people to do? It's kind of comical if you think about it, but it wasn't comical at the time for me when I was working in that environment. And that's how I became so burnt out from it and had to get out of there. Managers don't tell you how to become successful. They're not managers because they became successful, okay? They're managers because their resume looked good. They might have had a little bit of experience that the owner was looking for, or the CEO was looking for, or hey, let's hire this guy. He seems to have charisma. Yeah, that doesn't make it, okay? You can't fake it until you make it to get success. As far as I'm concerned, most managers where I worked before were useless, in my opinion. Now, that may be a strong comment, and if you are a manager, take heed to what I'm saying, because I'm not wrong, okay? Managers do not focus on getting results. There it is. Managers focus on managing people. This may look like different things to different managers. Some managers may find screaming and yelling helpful. Some managers may find controlling their employees helpful. But at the end of the day, these same managers usually have no experience. They were hired on a whim. They were hired because someone died. That's how they got their job. Literally, I've worked with people like that. They were hired because they happened to work at a different company in the same field, but they didn't have any managerial experience. It really cracks me up how managers today get their jobs. Now, with the AI technology, it's even worse. When you are at the top of your game and you are in a corporation working under managers who just don't have the experience or knowledge, it can bring you down and you may never achieve the success you're seeking. The people that I worked with not the managers, but the actual workers. They didn't focus on getting results. They focused on the result. While the managers are pushing out emails daily, harassing their employees about, well, you need to focus on networking with that random person over there in the new business because they sell hot dogs, and you're trying to come up with an ad for our latest campaign. You need to go reach out to that hot dog person who makes $3,000 a year. I'm not joking. Like, this is really a true example. And you're thinking, did you wake up like that? How did you have that epiphany that a random hot dog seller, and no offense to hot dog sellers, I'm being facetious, obviously. How is a random hot dog seller going to help me in my ad campaign for, a $50 million business? How is that going to help me? But this is what managers do. They sit there in their little offices, or maybe even from home, and they type these random emails out. True story. They push out these emails that say, we should get together and we should have a pumpkin carving contest. No joke. Seriously, this is for real. And you're sitting at your desk thinking, I'm just trying to get on the top 10 employees for being the most successful here. I don't care about a random pumpkin carving. Okay, so step number 1, don't listen to the managers. Yeah, I know you kind of have to because it's your job, it's your livelihood, but take what they say and put it in the disposal section of your desk. If you have a drawer, just put the stuff in there. Yes, I saw that when they come in next time or whatever. But, don't focus on what they're telling you. Don't even listen to it. Take your own experience and look towards the future. Don't look towards the now. Maybe stop by and have a hot dog for lunch. Now that's a good idea. But as far as taking the advice of the managers above you that don't do your job, think about, next month I need to make XYZ as a goal. Don't focus on getting to XYZ. Focus on, I'm at XYZ. Once you focus on, I want to take my business from here to here, then look at that. Don't look here. Don't keep looking here. And that's where people get stuck. They keep looking at the bottom and they're like, oh, I want to grow from 10,000 to 20,000. But don't keep looking at the bottom, because if you keep looking at the bottom, that's where you're going to stay. After I was an assistant to this top employee, they threw me in a position to his equal. And I had no training. I had no skills for that. I had no experience in that. I was a paper pusher. I did analytics. I did paperwork. I wasn't used to doing what he did, really being out there in the field. I actually had one of those psychological tests done for the job before they even hired me. The original manager that I had passed away, and he was the one that ordered the test. And the test came back and showed that I'm what you call a guardian. And it said in the results that me, that this employee, meaning me, I should be in the background. I would be great as an assistant. I would be great as support staff, which I was. I was fantastic. They always had record months. They weren't guardians. They were the go-getters. So this is where managers get it wrong. They need to start focusing on letting the employee do what the employee does best. But instead, they push people with stupid emails, with stupid task lists, with stupid meetings. But the people that are actually making it and making it big for the companies, they already have that mindset. They don't need to be reminded daily with emails. They already get results because their focus is result driven. One of the most impactful moments when I worked for this corporation was when they called all the employees out to this big to-do meeting. We had to go states away. We had to stay overnight in a hotel with ice cold showers. The food was horrible. They served boiled eggs. and coffee. I mean, it was atrocious. This multi-million-dollar company with these top employees, that's how we were treated. Whatever the goal is that you have to meet, it's not about getting there, but the managers will push that on you. The managers will tell you, oh, you're halfway to your goal. Oh, look at that. You're falling short of your goal. And they will stress you out. They will make your head spin. They'll make you feel sick. This is why people are burnt out. My coworkers were different. The top employees of this company that I worked with were way different than these managers. These employees told exactly what they do without saying a word. You just watch their actions. You watch them in real time doing their magic. And it boiled down to, they didn't focus on that. They didn't listen to it. They didn't read it. They deleted it as it came through the computer email. They focused on, I need to do X. And X marked the spot. My coworker took X, and that was his guide. He not only hit X, he not only got there, but he exceeded it every single month. The reason this was so profound is because I live in a small town. This company has a branch in this small town where we worked. We don't have a lot of people here. We're not in a city. His competitors were nationwide. They weren't even in the same state. His competitors were in places like Los Angeles. There's a lot of people there. One of his competitors was in New York City. There's a lot of people there. We are literally in the middle of nowhere. A lot of farms around us. The ocean. But there's not a lot of people. In fact, this is considered a tourist area. The people that do come here for part of the year don't stay here all year long. So how is it that some person randomly in a small place can be competitive to somebody in LA because he looked at the long term? He didn't look at the now. That's the secret. The managers will tell you, it's middle of the month. Where are you at? They focus on the past and they focus on the present. They're not focusing into the future. And that's where the success is. Anytime I've been in a position of having to get to X, whatever it may be, I sit down, I look at where I'm at. Okay, I'm starting here and I need to get all the way over there. Success starts at a starting point and ends at an ending point. And that's your goal. That's where you want to be. So when you're at your starting point, the only thing you need to do is look to your finish line. If you are a runner and you're on a path and you're running, and if you hit that finish line before anyone else, that's where the award money is. What are you going to do? Are you going to worry about the runner next to you? Are you going to worry about the runner in front of you? You're going to be looking at that finish line, and that's where your destination is. That's you're designating your award. You're designating it right there. There it is. You're focused on that. That's how people that are in a race can come from behind and win. When I was paralyzed in the hospital and I got out and it took me a year of recovery, I was paralyzed. That's my starting point. My finish line is walking again. How do I get there? What did it take to get there? Well, looking back, it took commitment. It took hard work, yes, but I kept my mind focused on when, not if, not how, when. I knew I'd get there. I knew I'd walk again. I knew I would drive again. But it started at ground zero, where all I had left was to look up because I was down and I wasn't walking anywhere. But I got there. You can have somebody that stays down. they never progress. They never get to X. Then you can have somebody else that gets to X, goes on to Y, Z, and restarts the alphabet with double A's. The difference is the person that never gets to X, they may see X and think, I don't know if I'll ever make that. I don't see how that's possible. The person that gets around the corner to the double A's, that's all they see. They don't see any obstacles in their way. They don't look at things like obstacles. They look at things like progression. They don't listen to managers who focus on halfway through the month. That's actually demotivating. They don't look at managers who send out emails randomly and, oh, you're not quite there yet. Well, slow and steady wins the race sometimes. And yes, there are times where you're just never going to win at what it is. What do you do then? You've changed course. Instead of staying on path X, you decide, you know what? This isn't for me. I don't even want to be here. I can't even see myself getting at X. I just want to go over here and do something else. And that is smart. That's what I did. That is okay. And that does not mean you are a quitter. It means you recognize that no matter how many times you try or how many wheels you turn, you never get an X. The truth of the matter is not all of us are made to get to this X or the same X. We all have a different X to get to. We all have a different spot. I believe that all of us have something in us that drives us, that motivates us, that helps us get to X and keeps us focused on getting there. I've known people who have done career changes at 60 years old and have gone on to become more successful than they ever dreamed possible in their prior 40-year career. I stayed in corporate America for 6 years, and when I saw that it just wasn't for me, I got out. And I can tell you that sometimes staying in a place where you're trying to get to X and it's just not working out is holding you back. You need to get out of there because you have an X somewhere. There is somewhere in this life where that X belongs to you. Believe me on this. It does. It's going to get better. If you're struggling, it's going to get better. And if you have made it to X and beyond, I want to hear from you so people can learn from you. Please comment below how you did it. Did you keep focusing on X and not worry about the stuff in between? Did you look at the water and see the sharks, but decided not to focus on the sharks? Think about the swimmer. This swimmer swam from one point to another, and there were so many sharks in this water. It was truly a miracle that she survived. But she didn't try once. She didn't try twice. She focused on X. People kept telling her, give it up. Give it up. It's not good. You know, it's going to be your demise. Give it up. Don't keep trying. You're sunburnt. You've had shark attacks. You had a jellyfish sting you. Don't keep trying. And she didn't listen. She wanted that X. No, I'm not giving up. And pretty soon, she was provided a path, a way to get to X. People came forward and had these machines that deflected the sharks. They cleared the waters, and she was able to swim safely with other protective gear that they invented for her to keep away the jellyfish stings. And she made it. It was one of the most inspirational stories I've ever seen in my life. She made it. You know, I often have people say to me, oh, you're just upset that you didn't make it in the corporate world. No, actually, I'm not. You know, the managers have actually said that to me. And it's like, no, and this is why. Because I realized it wasn't for me. There was no shame in that. It wasn't for me. I was better off as the assistant. And when I didn't make it, I realized I'm not supposed to. It's not my X. It's not my turn. The folks that are making it there's only a few here. Out of the thousands of employees at this company, there were only several that made it to the top. And that was their game plan. X. They didn't focus on A. They didn't focus on M. They focused on X. Just like this swimmer. She didn't focus on any of the obstacles. She stood at one point in the world and looked at the point where she wanted to be, and the only way to get there was to swim. Is find your X spot. Where is that? No matter what field it may be in, no matter what you are doing, you can find your X. But I hope you find your X. I hope you can see with clarity and with purpose that line that leads you there. And everything else is just an illusion. Everything else. Go through it like it's a cloud. Shark? No problem. Jellyfish? No problem. Just move it out of your way. Because you have a designated destination for where you want to be. Go get it. Thanks for watching. Take care.